10, 9, 8. No, we can't start now. Water. Yes.
Yeah, you see, you need water.
You know what? You start. We are too late. 10, 9. Are you very thirsty? Who was asking for water?
Oh, me. It's fine, but she just called, so she may need it at some.
Somehow we'll find a way.
Okay.
Okay, I have water here. So. Nana, please give me water.
She
But
needs
you
water.
can't put this label, so I'm going to take the label off. We can't get it.
Oh, I don't need to keep it by me.
Sure.
Yes,
Then
please.
just drink.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll count it again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cue artist.
Hello, viewers. You are welcome to Let's Talk About. Let's Talk About is a real understanding of social issues that bothers us as Christians. You are welcome to this week's edition. Today, we are discussing mental health. Joining us today, we have some of the members of the Trinity United Church Youth Fellowship, Legon, to discuss today's topic. From my far left, we have Jessie Ajite from the Youth Fellowship and Mrs. Martha Ofori, a clinical psychologist and a member of the Young Adult Fellowship. I am your host, Nanadra Agrifen. Let me remind viewers we are streaming live on our social media platforms, Trinity United Church Legon, on both YouTube and Facebook. You can send your comments and questions to the comment section on our social media platforms or to our WhatsApp number 050 15 79 996. Again, 050 15 79 996. Okay, so we are going to set the ball rolling for today's topic, mental health issues. Okay, so I'd like to know, what would you say mental health is and its underlying causes?
Okay, so I think mental health is basically the overall state of mental welfare of a person. Yeah. So the causes, the main determinants of mental health are basically, first I think social conditions, so your relationships, how your relationships are going with people and everything, and then economic conditions, definitely money plays a very important role in your mental health, and then I think environmental conditions too do play a very important role in mental health. Yeah.
Miss Nata, anything to add to what you said?
So I think basically when we are looking at our mental health, we are looking at how we are adapting to the various changes that keeps coming our way day in and day out. So talking about academics, our work-life balance, our relationship with other people, how are we managing all that? How are we coping with the daily things that life, keeps throwing at us? And so being able to manage them and, cope and take care of yourself whilst these challenges come at you is a way of, improving upon your mental health.
Okay, so in view of what you were saying about coping with mental health, so what would you say, like with people who are having mental health challenges, how would you, what would you say for them to be able to cope, to get a good mental health?
Okay, so I think we have to look at mental health in terms of maybe three ways. Your thoughts can affect your mental health. So the way you think about yourself, if there's a situation that arises, if you think you are helpless, or you tell yourself, I can't do this, or I'm a failure, how you are thinking about the problem or the issue at hand can lead to some sort of mental health. Also your emotions. So if you are feeling sad about a situation, you feel angry about it and you are unable to cope with it, that can also result in some sort of mental health challenge. Then it's also results in a behavior setting or in a behavior change. You are not eating well, you are not sleeping well, you are diverting into some dangerous behaviors, especially for youth. You will see that peer pressure can set in. You are going into alcohol abuse, some go into sexual behaviors, which may not be good for them. So realizing what is happening around you and you noticing that there's something wrong somewhere can be a first factor for you and help you to solve the issues that come at you.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you say like you personally cope with mental health, especially as a working person?
Okay, so work can be very stressful. And as an adult, as you are coming up, you definitely know that you have to work. So first of all, you have to accept that, this is work. I've decided to go into it. I'll give off my best. Even if it is not enough and you realize that there are challenges around, you should be able to ask for help, speak to your supervisor. You can even speak to your colleagues around to help you with some aspects of the work that you may not be able to, do or balance very well.
Okay.
But it's important that you realize that you are having challenges, and then in that way you can support yourself and even look at other people who may be going through such challenges and also offer some support to them as well.
Okay. So I'm sure you have all heard about the recent case of the students from K University attempting suicide as a student. So Jesse, as a student, how do you cope with mental health challenges?
Okay, so first off, I'd say to be able to cope with mental health challenges, you definitely have to plan. So since you're in school and a lot is happening and everything, and assignments here and there, exams coming up, if you do not really plan your time, you are going to be overwhelmed with all these things, and it will have a negative effect on your mental health. So firstly, I think you should plan, and then secondly, I think doing what you love will definitely leave you like having a better mental health. So for me, for example, I love going to exercise and going to the gym. So doing something like that, or finding a hobby or something will definitely improve your mental health. And then lastly and most importantly, praying really does improve your mental health, because usually most of these variables cannot be perfect all the time. So for example, you can't have the best relationship with everyone. You can't be assured that you're always going to have money. You can't be assured that your environment is always going to be perfect. So in order to always be peaceful with yourself and be at peace all the time, you definitely have to draw peace from an everlasting source, that's God.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so I'm aware of the free counseling sessions that universities offer, the counseling and career units, right? Yeah. But a lot of students don't speak up. They don't talk. Like, is there a reason why you think, talking about maybe the stigmas, misconceptions? Because, it's free, but students don't really take advantage of that when they're in school.
Okay, can I talk?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so in Ghana, we don't really view mental health as something that should be looked at. So they will probably say it's a white man's disease or something. But I think, due to reasons like this, people don't really like to come out of their shows to talk about how they are feeling and everything. And especially for men, if you go and speak to a counselor and your friend sees you right now, you're dead, because it sees you during the whole time you're in school and everything. So I think those are some of the factors or the reasons why people don't really like to come out about their mental health. Yeah.
Okay. So any other stigmas or misconceptions that I'd like to talk about?
So I think he gave an example. Generally, people say if you are seeking help or you are even talking about, oh, I'm very sad today, or I'm overwhelmed with something that is happening, people will say you are weak, or why are you saying you are sad? Everyone is going through it. But we should also realize that it's important to know that we are all different. There are individual differences. Our backgrounds, the way we were brought up, the challenges that life throws at us are very different. And everyone treats issues in a different way. So I think that we should also, as part of helping ourselves, try and be kind with ourselves.
Okay.
If you know that you are having challenges or you realize that there's something you cannot cope with, academic-wise, maybe your family, siblings and all that, realize that, it's okay to have an issue. It is okay to not be okay. So when you tell yourself that oh, I think I'm going through something, I'm not really feeling fine about it, and I think I may need to speak to someone or a friend, or read about maybe what I'm going through, it's perfectly okay. You're human. So you definitely go through these things. So we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves. Also not be so hard on other people when we see that they are not coping the way we are expecting them to. Because everyone is different.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned the background, right? So I want to know how the family helps in like your mental health, like the role of the family in improving mental health? Because I'm sure that broken home is a factor for which some people have mental health challenges. So what do you think the role of the family is in coping with mental health challenges?
Okay, so I think the family is a very important factor for every individual. That's where you came from. So your siblings may be there, your parents may be there. And you realize that sometimes when there's neglect in the family, like people like your family members sort of neglect you, or they are saying you are too stubborn, especially for young people. There's a lot of conflict with our parents, with authoritative figures in our lives. It's like, you're not obeying instructions, you're not doing the things I want you to. And so we may feel some neglect, some anger towards our family members. Comparisons, even with our siblings, can cause a lot of conflicts at home. And so that can also bring about some sort of uncertainty in our lives and make us feel maybe depressed or even sad or even angry at our parents. So I think that our family members are very like first supportive role that we have, and lately we see that, or even from even us growing up, you realize that sometimes your parents are also very busy with family life, like work life, their social expectations and all that. So they are sometimes busy. And so young people usually feel very neglected. It's like they are only giving you maybe food, water, shelter, and like for the daily things in life, it's like you are on your own and you have to deal with them by yourself. But I think that parents, caregivers can also play a very important role, supporting us, speaking to us, giving us some advice, asking us how our day has been, if we need help. Are you having any challenges that maybe you need help with? If you don't want to speak to me, parents should be open to say, I have a friend, maybe, I think you should speak to this person, and maybe it can help. So parents can also support in that way.
Okay, thank you very much. So I want to know, what are the signs one will usually show when they are going through mental health challenges? Like, what are the signs? How would you know that this person is going through challenges?
Okay, I think I don't think signs really show, because sometimes the people that you see trying to like look happy are usually not really that, like when they are alone. So I don't really think you'd really see someone like going through, how do I explain this? I don't really think you'd know if someone's going through a mental disorder from how they act. That's what I think.
Okay, well, I've seen that sometimes people post like on their status, like probably sad, depressing quotes, and most of the time people just laugh it off. But I think it's a sign. It's a sign that, oh, I'm going through some sort of challenge, but I don't want people to laugh at me, so I probably hide it behind a joke or a meme or something of the sort. So I think that there's probably some signs that people show.
There's definitely signs. You could be all of a sudden start maybe keeping to yourself, being like, wanting to feel very alone, or even, going on social media and then acting out. Peer pressure can also come in. So maybe suddenly you're overeating or you're not eating so well. You're having a lot of trouble with sleep. You could think it's normal, or maybe I'm just stressed, but it could be very subtle signs that are showing. And that could tell you that maybe there's something going on somewhere. And so I need to sit back and evaluate maybe my life and see what is happening around me. And then find out how I can get help for myself.
Okay, so with peer pressure, I believe that like at all stages in life, there's some sort of peer pressure. Because even in class 1, I remember everyone had dragging bag, Barbie. I also wanted the same thing. So right from class 1 up to adolescence, university work, there's some sort of peer pressure. So how do you deal with it? Because we're in a world that's moving at a very fast pace. Like, a lot of people are achieving a lot of things. So how do you deal with it? How do you cope with the peer pressure?
I think first off, you shouldn't really compare yourself to other people. So not necessarily move slow, but move at your own pace and set your own goals, set your own standards for yourself. So you don't really have to look at other people to, derive the feeling of success from other people. That's what I think. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think peer pressure, peers can be both good and bad. they can influence you positively, add value to your life. So that is what we should be looking at. The peers who would bring us negative stuff, let's go out, let's go maybe club, and can we taste this? Can we involve ourselves in some sort of sexual, alcoholic behavior and those things? Those ones, you should be able to say no to them. It's okay to say no to someone who is not adding value to your life.
Okay.
That is the end game. You don't want someone taking you into destruction. So sometimes, as youth, we want to be accepted. So you may play along. But it also comes down to what he said, value, having value for yourself, knowing what you want. It's okay if you don't have a lot of friends. I mean, I'll give myself as an example. Growing up, it was just my books and then working. Books and working. I didn't have a lot of relationships with other people because, I had those things to deal with. And so I won't, go out with friends and all that. But in some way, it helped me. It kept me away from trouble. In other ways, I also see that my social life was, not as well developed as maybe I would have loved it to. But it's okay. It didn't take me through a lot of trouble. So I think that in that way, I was able to balance it in some way. Yeah.
Okay, so with the positive peer pressure, right? I know of people who are probably in study groups, right? And they learn a lot. And you can see that it's impacting their mental health. Because, you are getting value, right? Because you are getting the grades. But then you can see that they are stressed. There's burnouts, there's breakdowns. So would you say that's really positive peer pressure? Because, you are getting the grades that you want. But then there's also the burnout, which is affecting your mental health.
Okay, so about what you just said, I think you should know yourself and you should know how you study, how you understand things. So if you think if you learn on your own, you study better and you really have burnout or anything, sure, that's your way. You can go by that route. But if you think if you're alone, you'll probably be too lonely and you need people around you to try and help you understand and remember things. Yeah, definitely. Because for me, for example, I tried the study group thingy and it didn't really go well for me. Not necessarily because I wasn't bonding with them, but because all we'll be doing is talking and talking. I won't get things done, and then in the end, when you don't really do, or it's going to, negatively affect your mental health there. So I think it all comes down to knowing yourself and knowing what you can do, when you can do it, and how you can do it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure you know that social life really helps with your mental health at times, because if you are always alone, like the Bible even says that it's not good for man to be alone, because you're alone with your thoughts. There's the issue of being idle and all that. So I want to know, we have to talk about how the social life can negatively affect your mental health. So how can it positively affect your mental health?
Okay, I think definitely having people around will definitely make you feel better. So I think, yeah, it has social, it has positive side effects. Sorry, it has positive effects, but the negative side effects, as she was saying, is that they can lead you to things that you didn't want to have done, and then in the end you'll be left, sad for regretting decisions you might have made. Yeah.
So how do you pick the right people to be around, people that would positively impact your mental health?
Yeah, I think that finding the right people, you can look out for mentors, someone to, like an elderly person, someone to mentor you and, take you through experiences that they have had. And that would maybe help you in some way. I'll give you an example again. I met someone who started mentoring me, and they would always, one thing that I learned from them is that, someone saying no to you doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. So even just picking that from a mentor, it helped me a lot. It helped me to become more assertive, more confident. It's like, you go out there, you seek opportunities. Because, when someone says no to you or when you fail at something, it doesn't mean you're bad or it's the end of the world for you. So having a mentor helps a lot. Having someone that you can speak to, it could be a friend, it could be like, someone elderly, but having someone you can speak to helps you a lot.
Okay, so I've also heard about exercise being very good for the mental health, and I want to see how it correlates. Like, how does exercise help with your mental health?
genuinely, I don't know I really don't know how it does, but I mean, having a nice body, keeping yourself fit definitely plays a role. Cause I mean, you'll be confident. Like there's this confidence that comes with it that you are healthy and everything. Yeah, so I think that plays a role. Yeah.
Okay, but do you want to add
Yeah,
something?
I think exercise in a way, sort of brings some relief to some individuals. You work out, it takes away some stress. It makes you tired. You come back, it takes your mind away from stresses for maybe just a particular point in time. You take your mind away from it. It burns you out. It gives you something else to focus on. It's not just exercise, and you could do, especially for the young people today, there's a lot of dancing classes all around. You could pick up a new skill that you want to learn, just something to while away your time or take away your mind from anything that is stressing you, in the moment. So exercise does help a lot.
Okay, so whilst fitness is very good and I've heard about the benefits, eating also makes people very happy. So like, how do you balance like eating and exercising? Because most of the time the food that makes you happy is junk food, and I don't think it's necessarily good for your physical health.
I think for everything there should be like a balance. Yeah, so eating right, not eating right, they should have a healthy balance in terms of the things that you do or you engage in, and that would help.
Okay, so is there any routine that any of you partake in that helps with your mental health? Because I know some people wake up early in the morning, maybe they do meditation, they do yoga, they take a jog around. Do you like to share some things you do in your daily activities?
Yeah. Okay, so for me, I wouldn't say it's a routine because I have several stresses as I go along the day. But for me, several things help a lot. One of them is music. I tend to listen to, whether it's hip hop, it's Christian music, whatever. Sometimes the words in there bring some sort of comfort to me. What I also do is positive affirmations. So, telling yourself that everything will be okay. Telling yourself that you can have what you say. When you have faith, you can have what you say. And the best thing also for me with how I cope is, having a reliance on God.
Okay.
That God is your ultimate. He can help you with everything. Whenever you are going through challenges, you can tell yourself that this thing that I'm going through, it will end in praise. That's what someone told me, that it will end in praise. And so you believe that even though you are going through it, even though it could be a little stressor, it could be a major thing, but you tell yourself that you are dependent on God, you are relying solely on Him, and you are believing that you can go through daily life stresses and that you'll be okay. It doesn't mean the stresses won't come or you won't be sad or whatever, but having those things helps a lot. And also having your family or a support system around also helps you, so that maybe you have someone you can chat with, someone you can speak to just to find out, or even, getting someone into your space to understand what you may be going through and they sharing their experiences with you.
Okay, so with having a support system, people you can share things with, some people have social anxiety. Like they don't know how to approach people, they don't know how to talk to people. So in that sense, like what do they do?
Social anxiety. With everything, it is something that you have to learn.
Okay.
You have to learn it, right? So you may be very anxious, approaching people and all that. When I was young, I was very, very timid. I won't go close to anyone and all that. But I realized that making friends, sometimes we just write to each other. Like talking to people was an issue for me. So maybe you can write letters to, write notes and share it with people. Or, just not necessarily forcing yourself on people, because it's very difficult sometimes. You may not know how to deal with the situation, but trying to find a balance between everything can help you in some way. Yeah.
That's true. I also heard that when you want to strike up a conversation with someone easy, the first thing you can do is probably compliment them and then probably take it from there. Right? Okay, so Jesse, anything that you do routinely or your daily activities, that's help with your mental health.
Okay, so I think in the course of planning, initially, I didn't really put add to my routine time where I'd have time for myself to like rest, watch a movie or something. So it was just work, 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 and then I realized that if I don't really put in something there, I'll just be stressed out the whole time. Even during this vacation, like I'll just be trying to work all the time, and I don't really be happy with myself, and I'll probably like go off my routine just to do something else because I haven't had that time for a very long time. So I think in your routine you should try and like add some sort of fun into your routine to make sure that like maybe you're expecting that day to come. So like yeah, definitely I'm going to have fun on this day. Yeah.
Okay, so with that, also people don't prioritize their mental health because they believe in, let me hustle now, let me kill myself and I can rest later. So if you tell them that, oh, take breaks, like to them, they have seen that big people like are saying that, oh, work now, like put in all the hours, kill yourself, and then you can relax later. What do you have to say about that?
You just said kill yourself. I don't think that's a good way to live.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think for everything, there has to be a balance.
Okay.
And when you find that you are not on a good path or you are not, handling the situation well, you should sit back and reevaluate your life.
Okay.
It is very important. You sit back, reevaluate the things you are doing. What is working, what is not working. I do not think that you should, kill yourself doing things in the now. You can spread things across and, try and have a good life, work-life balance.
Okay.
That will help a lot.
Okay. But people argue that in trying to like take breaks and everything, they'll probably be behind. Maybe probably on task. Like you are in your workplace, we are both working for promotion. Like maybe the person handles stress better than you, but then you also really want the promotion. So it's like you have to put in extra work. So in that case, what do you do to keep your mental health in check?
Yeah, putting in the work, putting in the extra, effort to get things done. But it is important, like I'm saying, to know yourself, know that there are individual differences.
Okay.
And it is not really a race.
That's true.
Otherwise, you will be overwhelmed with work. It is not really a race. You are putting in your work. You are doing your best. Someone can finish a task in 2 hours. It may take you about 5 hours to get the task done. But you are doing your work. You are putting in the work. So that's what you should be focusing on rather than, trying to say I'm competing with someone to, be ahead. Know yourself and know what the things you can deal with. It is okay if you have to push yourself. Right? We are not saying don't push yourself, but then know yourself and then know the limitations that you can work within and work with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jessie, as a student, how do you handle deadlines, interim assessments, exams, all these things as a goal, and still have probably like a social life or time to yourself? How do you do this? Like the whole balance?
So as I said, it all comes down to planning. So just like try and sit down, plan your time, and know when you have to do what to do, and make sure you do what you do when you have to do it. Yeah. So you can get caught up with everything. So if you have a time for assignments and everything, if you follow your routine perfectly, you're definitely going to have time for yourself to have fun or watch a movie or something. So yeah. So it all comes down to planning your time. Yeah.
Okay, so we have dealt with how to take care of like the social issues. So what if your mental health issue is something that was like passed down to you, like something that has to do with genetics? How do you go about it?
So yes, definitely genetics play a role in some of the mental health disorders or mental health issues. There could be a family history that is now showing up in the younger generation. So sometimes there's the need to seek medical help. You may need to speak to a medical doctor, a psychiatrist, to find out what is really happening with you and how to deal with it. Sometimes too, you need a psychologist in there. Like it's a whole team that will help you to get through it. For example, schizophrenia.
Okay.
For example, sometimes it could be a genetic issue, and so we need to know what the family history is, and then from there the psychiatrist can come in and support you with some medication, whilst the psychologist helps you, through therapy to go through life and handle things properly. So definitely, sometimes genetics, family history plays a role in our mental health.
Okay, so with all the stigma surrounding mental health, I mean, we have the clinical psychologists there. They are ready to give us their services. But then with this stigma, how do you create awareness? How do you get people to buy into their services, to actually see a psychologist?
Yeah, I think he mentioned that we shouldn't see mental health as a weakness or as a white man's disease, like you were saying, or as a foreign thing that is happening. It happens actually for mental health. Everyone is involved. It's positive and it's negative. We go through it every day, every time. So it's just how we deal with it. That is what causes the problem. So once we are able to deal with it well, speak to people, you don't necessarily need to see a psychologist.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Because they may not be available, or at the time when you are having the issues, they may not be around. That's why we are saying that seek other avenues for support.
Okay.
It may not necessarily be a psychologist. You could talk to your mom, your friends, you could talk to a mentor, someone that you know that you can speak to get some support from them. It's also important to look at your friends as well.
Okay.
They may be going through challenges like the suicide stuff that you said.
Okay.
People are going through a lot. There are a lot of things that people want to voice out and they are not. You even mentioned people put it out on social media,
That's
on
true.
their WhatsApp status and things. Sometimes you should just ask them what they mean by what they are saying. You never know. It could lead to something and someone may need some help. Yeah.
So you mentioned talking to people, right? So how do you know you're getting the right advice? Because people come up with all sorts of bizarre things like about how to help with your mental health. So in that case, what do you do? How do you know it's the wrong advice?
So, first off, as she said, definitely know the people you associate yourself with.
Okay.
Have good friends, so you know that once you're getting this advice from this person, you know you're getting good advice because the person you choose is definitely the right person to give you the kind of advice you want to have. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this juncture, we'll take a short break. Right.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
Welcome back, viewers. Don't forget to send your comments and questions on both Facebook and YouTube. Trinity United Church Legon. You can also send your comments and questions to our WhatsApp number 050 15 79 996. Again, 050 1579 996. All right, so let's continue from where we ended. So I want us to talk about the finances. I'm sure we've heard about how the economy is going down and what have you. So now everyone is struggling to make a living, and it's affecting their mental health. So, like in that sense, what do you do? How do you go about it?
Yes, definitely financial issues are a huge part of the problems that everyone faces, yeah, both the young and the old. But you realize also that there's always a way out, especially for young people now. A lot of people are venturing into businesses. Even as students on campus, you see people, learning new skills. There's makeup, there's, people doing hair and nails. The boys are also venturing into, the guys are also venturing into, marketing and, small businesses that can support them. Content creation now is also a very big thing, looking at technology and all that. So there's definitely some way that you can, support yourself with these things, and then it can help you deal with your financial issues.
Okay, so with that, most of the time, students can't handle business and grades at the same time. Most of the time, one suffers, and you'd have your parents telling you concentrate on your studies instead of venturing into all these other things, telling you that when you're done with school, then there's enough time for you to, make ends meet. But then there's also the pressure of seeing that, your friends have already started something. They have a head start in life. They are getting their finances in check. And they're also telling you that there are no jobs. So then it's like there's this pressure to also go out there and start making money. So in that case, what do you do? Because you know yourself and you know that you cannot balance both. But then you also want a head start. So then in that situation, what do you do?
Okay, so as we discussed initially, I think you should know yourself, you should know where you come from, and you should know your capabilities, know what you can do. So if you think you have a good business plan and you think you can go on with whatever business you want to start with, and you know it might not affect your grades, sure, you can. But I don't think you should let the pressure of maybe guys having Benzes on campus and everything get to your head to try and, and enter dubious means to make money and everything. So yeah, that's what I think.
I agree with him. There should be a balance. If you know you can't combine your schoolwork with business, you don't have to go into it unless you know that you can balance it and you can, manage it very well. Otherwise, one will definitely suffer and it will be your grades, and you don't want that.
Okay, so going into school, we're going to grades. There's a lot of pressure to make A's, to be valedictorian, first class, top of your year. So how do you deal with that pressure?
I think I work as hard as I can. Yeah, definitely. Because not everyone can make the A's. Certain topics are definitely hard. But just make sure you don't, even in that light, make sure you don't step down just because you think or you feel like you're not fit to make an A. Definitely try your best, try your hardest, everything, and see what you end up with. Yeah, that's what I think.
So what if your best is not good enough for your parents back at home? How do you deal with it? Because
I think then you should really have a conversation with them about it and how hard school is and everything. Yeah. But I think they want the best for us. They're just trying to help us push ourselves to our limit to make sure we become better people in life than them. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think we should also help our parents to understand the pressures that we are going through on campus, and let's get them to support us as well. The grades may not be coming, but they can also support us, encourage us, not always bashing us or saying you're not doing all that. Encourage us and then help us. Speak to us about some of the challenges we may be going through, because they may not even be willing to listen to what the issues are, but they should be supportive and help us go through it. It's okay if you're not getting all A's. It's okay.
So with the support, how do you get them to support you? Because most of the time they'll tell you that they were also first in class. So why are you not? They tell you that they were first in class, that they were making a grade. So why can't you do it? They'll tell you that they have been through it. They were one student. They'll even tell you they started trekking from here to here, a long distance, and yet they were still doing it. They had a lot of chores, but you have like probably technology to your disposal and all that. So then, in that sense, like, how do you get them to understand?
It all comes down to our parents, our caregivers, understanding, supporting us, but then understanding that we have individual differences.
That's true.
So my sibling and I, we may not necessarily be at the same level, but we are all trying our best. They should support us and help us achieve our best potential.
Okay.
Not that we have to be the best of the best, because the challenges that they faced when they were in school may not necessarily be the same things that we are going through. We say we are millennials now. The challenges that we have may not necessarily be the same things they went through. They should try and offer us support, try and be understanding of some of the challenges we are having and help us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a comment by Ellen Soa. She says, the Psalms is full of feelings. It teaches us to talk through how we are feeling with God, and He helps us deal with the things which affect us on a daily basis. So yes, let's read the Psalms. Yeah, the Psalms is a very deep book actually. So like, I think when we are going through all our feels in life, like we are going through struggles, we can pray to God. Like, all the remorses we have, everything, we could talk to God about it. And He'll definitely listen, because most of the things we're going through, you can see the psalmist also went through particular things where he felt that God was like, He was forsaken and all of that. Okay, so we have another comment by Miss Gloria. She says, don't think about societal stigmatization. Seek early solutions.
That's very true. I think we've already
Spoken about it.
that. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
important.
we are going back to the home, right? Aside the grades, there's also the issue of marriage, the pressure to get married. Like, everyone's getting married. Why are you not married? When are you going to get married? Like, so I think that one you would help us with that. Like, how do you deal with it?
Societal pressure.
Yeah.
I'll give myself as an example.
Okay.
When I finished school, it was like, my mom called and said, oh, it's Sisi where we at school. Send Sisi Aka our or something. And I told her that I'll get married when I'm 30. So she should just give me time.
Okay.
So that's what I told her. And that's what I was working towards anyway. I didn't allow anyone to pressure me. I don't take such pressures. It will come when it comes. You just work on what you can for now. It will come when it comes. Marriage is a blessing. It will come when it comes. So don't allow anyone to give you that pressure, especially even your parents, your peers, whoever. Tell yourself that this is what you want.
Okay.
Affirm it. Plan towards it. You may not even plan towards, but it will come when it comes.
Okay.
That's what I think. Yeah.
So Miss Gloria says that some parents aren't supportive. So it is advisable to speak with someone you trust and is in a position to help with the situation. I think that's very good, because even in church, you have the marriage counselors units, right? So if you feel like you are being pressured and it's not your thing, like your time, you could go ahead and talk to someone like your parents probably submit to, someone your parents listen to help with that, right? But then there's also the pressure, like aside like people telling you that, oh, get married and that, there's also the internet telling you that from probably age 30 going on, your ovaries will dry up, your eggs will dry up, it will be hard for you to have children and all that. So how do you do with that one?
It's the same thing. Don't allow anyone to pressure you. If you accept those things, it's like you're on your own, and you go through all the stress thinking about it, trying to make someone happy. Some people get married because they want, someone, their parents to be happy with it and all that. Don't do that. Life is too short. Don't do that. Don't let yourself go through that.
Okay. So then, now this I've seen that like a lot of weddings have been trending. So everyone wants to hop on the trend, to have a big wedding. The hashtags. You get like, because everyone wants their wedding to be out there. To them, it's like the happiest day of their lives. So like in that case, how do you deal with that pressure? Because everyone who's coming is trying to see, hey, what's going to happen in your wedding? What are you bringing on board? So how do you deal with that pressure?
Is this still for?
Oh yes.
I'll still come back to the same. Manage your expectations. Know what you can do. You do not put pressure on your spouse to rise up to the occasion and do what others are doing. you are putting pressure on yourself. It is unnecessary pressure. If you have the means, you can do it. If you do not have the means and you are killing yourself, you want to go for a loan or something just so that you can have a hyped up wedding, it's not necessary. It will not bring you any happiness. Okay, so I don't think it's advisable. Yeah.
So we have a question by George Eduama. He says, can your coping mechanism start stressing you out?
Oh yeah, okay, I think yeah, definitely, because some of us the guys, our coping mechanism is football, and definitely when the team isn't doing well, you really won't be happy and everything. So yeah, your coping mechanism can stress you out. Yeah.
And I also know that sometimes your coping mechanism can become an addiction, which is not really helpful, because you talked about balance, right? So maybe your coping mechanism is probably going to the gym. Some people do it so much that they start hurting themselves, probably taking in drugs to help keep up the pace and all that. So like, how do you realize that your coping mechanism is now becoming probably a problem, and how do you deal with it?
Okay. So as we said all this while, know yourself, don't let the pressure get to you. Yes, you can go to the gym, yes, you can watch football and everything, but there should be a limit. You should know that you can't pass a certain stage, else it's going to get bad. Yeah.
Okay, so there's also the something that affects probably your mental health is when everyone is settling down. Like, everyone is settling down, people are getting jobs, especially after university. When you're looking for a job, it's a very big factor that like affects a lot of mental health of the youth today, because like everybody's looking for jobs. The competition for jobs has become like so fierce. So in that sense, like when you're staying at home, even when you're done with probably your BC or your WASI and you're not getting to school and you're staying home, like, it affects your mental health, because there are people asking you, hey, which school are you going to? Or your parents are saying, like, the moment you take your phone and you not learn because you didn't even make the grades and you're there pressing your phone. So then what do you do when you're staying at home, when you're not like going to the next milestone? How do you cope with that?
Okay, I think if maybe you're done with school and you don't really have a job or anything, there are various skills you can learn on yourself for free on the internet that you could be another means of funding for yourself. Yeah. So you could probably, like as she said, means like what did she say? You get a job, yeah, or you never know, you might move into what you learned on the internet. Because I know for most people right now, they don't really even use what they learned in the university. Most of them are working in fields they didn't think they ever work in. So yeah.
Okay. So we have a question by Ellen Soa. She asks, when we see a young person acting different, what do we do to help? Like, you have seen the signs now, and so how do you approach it? How do you help?
Yeah, if it's at home, maybe it's the parents that is noticing it. So, like we are saying, you may have been absent, but you suddenly notice the signs and the changes. Try and draw closer to your child, and ask them what is happening. Sometimes they may not want to speak to you, but that's why I said that you can, as a parent, suggest if they want to speak to someone else, suggest who they can speak with, and push them and say, go and speak to this person and see if this person can help you, if I can't help you. If it's someone outside of the home or anything like that, you can still approach them, find out what is happening. They may want to speak to you. If they do, then you definitely know how you can help them. But if they don't, you can, try and get other people around who can help them or support them in that way.
Okay, so Jessie, if you so happen to see that one of your friends acting different, like, and it's been a trend for some time, how would you approach it?
You want me to be honest?
Oh, please be very honest.
Okay, the regular me would maybe try and approach the person to see like what exactly is going on with the person. But if the person doesn't really want to be approached, I'll step back. That's my honest opinion.
So how do you know when to give the person space? Because sometimes it's like in that time, that moment where you give the person space, then it can lead up to things like probably suicide and things like that. Because some people need you to be persistent. Like, they tell you that, oh, no, I'm fine. But maybe if you had asked the third time, they would have come out with the problem. So in that sense, how do you know when to give the person space or when to push further?
as you said, if you've tried for a very long time, maybe you've tried once, the person didn't allow, try the second time, the third time, I think then you can't really do anything about it because the person doesn't want to speak to you. You can't force yourself on the person. Yeah. So at that juncture, you stop.
Okay, so we have a question by Kwame. He's asking, is it true that some substances like weed help with one's IQ? Is it true it can lead to madness?
I've heard of occasions where, yeah, where definitely people. I've heard most of the mad people on the road it was because of drug abuse. I don't really know if it's true or not. But yeah, definitely, even though these drugs have high effects in a short period of time, in the long run, they're definitely going to destroy you. So I think you should stay as far away from them as possible. Yeah.
Okay.
I also think you should stay as far away from it as possible.
Okay, so aside weed, right, there are some drugs that like young students take, saying that, okay, it's probably going to help them with studies. Some people are addicted to caffeine as well because they think that, okay, it's going to open their minds, it's going to help them study for longer hours, what have you. And then some of them have seen the results. So how do you convince them to stay clear of it? Because they're seeing the results, it's helping them, they're making the grades.
I think in the long run, it can have adverse effects on your health. So you may not see it now, but it may have effects on you, along the line. So I don't think it's a good behavior to be attached to substances to help you with your studies.
Okay. So what are some alternatives that you would suggest that they can do in place of taking drugs to help cope with the stress from studying?
Okay, for myself, instead of taking maybe caffeinated drinks or coffee or something, I just take hot water. I don't know, it helps. I don't know if it helps other people, but yeah. So just take hot water, or like if you feel sleepy or anything, just walk around, run around, like get energized so you can get energized to do whatever you have to do. Yeah.
Getting a steady buddy can also help, being in a steady group, having maybe a one person or two people that you study with. But like he's saying, the balance is very key, it's important. If you are stressed, just leave the books down, go have a walk, have something to eat, walk around, go watch a movie or something. And then you come back feeling energized, and then you come back to your books.
Okay. So sure, I've all heard of the popular statement, chop breakfast. Now, if you walk into a mental health facility right now, they'll tell you that quite a number of the cases they received is as a result of broken hearts, like someone's heart has been broken. So with that one, how do you cope with it? Because it affects their mental health to the extent that they have to be put in a health facility, a mental health facility. So how do we do with that? Because now it has become a trend. It's like the heartbreaks are a lot everywhere, especially amongst the youth. So how do you think we can tackle it?
For myself, I don't really think I've gone through that heartbreak phase before, because I think I've really not really gone into the space of dating and all of that during this time. So what I like to say is that I think people shouldn't really be pushed by the pressure to enter relationships and everything. It's just going to, in the long run, leave you heartbroken. You chop breakfast. Yeah. So yeah, maybe for some people they get married to people they meet in JHS1, but let's be real, you definitely, most of the time the person you're going to marry is not really that you meet the person there and then. So just try and avoid those kind of things for the meantime, and then maybe when you're grown in the university or something, you can enter into those things.
Okay, so I've spoken from a student's perspective. I want to, when you reach the courting stage, and you're going through, they'll tell you that, you go through a lot of people with a lot of red flags, a lot of people who are going to break your heart. So how do you deal with it?
I think that we shouldn't shun away from, love and building meaningful relationships with other people. In relationships, you have to manage your expectations so that you can avoid disappointment that will lead to, being broken-hearted and all that. But even if it happens, it is not the end of the world. In the moment, it will feel like it is the end of, that is the end of your life. Or this one person that you thought loved you so much. is the one that is doing this to you. It is in the moment. It is okay that you go through it and that you heal, but how to get out of it is the issue. So for the one who is heartbroken and for the one who is has given, like the victim and then the one given, it's something that can happen. It is life. So you manage your expectations, you prepare for it. If it happens, you know how to deal with it. You accept it, and then you move on. It has happened. So you accept it that it has happened. Take lessons from it. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean nobody loves you or nobody will love you ever again. It doesn't mean that. In the moment, you may feel that way, but over time, it will heal and then you'll be fine.
Okay. So we have a question from Eben. He's asking, is anxiety some sort of mental ailment? What is the cause and what is the remedy?
Yes, definitely anxiety can impact upon your mental health. So anxiety can lead to, so for example, there's an unusual fear of something.
Okay.
You are not very certain. It can make you very worried about a situation. It's definitely impacting upon your thoughts, upon your physical behavior, upon your life. So it's definitely, we go through anxiety every day. Everyday stresses can make you anxious. But it's also how you accept it and how you deal with it. It doesn't mean that you'll be perfect through and through. It doesn't mean you have everything sorted out. If you have to go through it, go through it. Learn from it. And then, manage and then you move on. That is life. Okay. Things will come at you, but it's just about managing them and seeking God's support. Yeah. He's the ultimate. He will help you with everything that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, so about seeking God's support, the Bible does say that be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, make your request known to God. So before you do anything, probably you're going up on stage and you're anxious about it. Sometimes it really helps to say a short prayer to God, say, oh God, please help me, that this is what I'm about to do. So he'll probably help you. Yeah. So about the heartbreak issue we're talking about, Ellen Soa has a comment for us. She says that pray for the person first. God will lead you to something. And I think that's a very, very important thing. That usually when you're entering relationships, something people fail to do is pray about it. Like praying about it a lot. Because sometimes you get the answer from the Holy Spirit that no. Sometimes you also need the Holy Spirit to open your eyes to certain red flags that you probably not see because you're probably blinded by love. Right? Okay. So Stephen Doche wants to add to Jesse's answer. He says that he suggests that we escalate our efforts by talking to another person, maybe in church, about your friend's behavior. He might have another approach that will help. Yes, that's true. If you can't do it yourself, probably you are trying and the person is not willing to talk to you, you can always talk to someone else to talk to that person. But then again, what if you go and talk to someone else to help the person gets angry? Because in that sense, like maybe you have broken my trust or something of the sort. So how do you deal with it?
I think it may be coming from a place of concern. You're concerned about the person. That's why when you couldn't help them, you offered to go through another route to, give them that support. So just explaining that to the individual would help that. So you had their best intentions at heart because you couldn't help. You thought somebody else could have, helped the situation.
Okay, so Miss Ruth says that they should get themselves involved in church activity. And I think that's very, very important because most of the time when you are busy doing something else, like you're not idle, you're not left to your thoughts. Because when you think a lot, that's when like your mental health really goes down the drain. Yeah. So when you're actively involved in things, especially things of God, I think it can really help you. Like joining a sector in the church. Like there are lots of ministries in the church. There's the choir, there's the media ministry, all these things. I think it also helps with your mental health. Yeah. Okay. I want to take this moment to remind viewers that we are streaming live on our social media platforms, Trinity United Church Legon, on both YouTube and Facebook. You can send your comments and questions to the comment section on our social media platforms or to our WhatsApp number 050 15 79 996. 050 15 79 996. Okay, so with everything that I've learned, so I've talked about balance, I've talked about health, how to like live a healthy lifestyle that will improve on your mental health. And so, like, are there any other things that you think that would probably help with your mental health, like to keep good mental health?
Okay, so what I'd reiterate on again, plan. As I
Plan.
said before, plan. Just make sure you plan everything, not necessarily everything, but plan the most important parts of your life, so you don't get overwhelmed by everything hitting you. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question. With the planning, some people tend to get very disappointed or worked out when things don't go according to plan. Because like I have this on my schedule, but I was unable to like make it. I was unable to fulfill it. So then how do you work around it?
Okay, then I think definitely you don't make strict routines. Make like flexible plans, flexible routines that you know that you'll be able to do, and not necessarily like maybe have something to do and then the next minute there's another thing to do. Have spaces in between where you can, have like rest, have time for yourself and everything. Yeah.
I agree. It's also about knowing yourself, knowing the things you can do, managing your time, managing the tasks that you have to do. If you know you can't do things all together at once, you break them up and then you tackle them individually. Manage yourself, manage your expectations of yourself. Know yourself and know the things that you can do and the limits that you can take to be able to solve issues.
Okay, so at this juncture, I want us like sort of we have said a lot about it. So what would you say would be like your closing remarks? Like what piece of advice would you give to people going through a tough time? Like any advice, it can be from any point of view, from home, finances. What advice would you personally give them?
Okay.
So I think health generally matters. Your mental health is very key. It affects everything you do. It can affect your physical health. So it's important that we take care of ourselves, manage our expectations, set goals, but manage your expectations, and face life as it comes. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. There's already so much pressure. Don't add on to the stress. Try very hard not to add on to the stresses that you have.
Okay, and Jesse,
Yeah, so as she said, know yourself and don't let the pressure get to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Viewers, it's been another interesting time here on Let's Talk About. We want to say a big thank you to you, our guests. Join us same time next week for another interesting and engaging topic. I've been your host. Thank you and good night.